Hey guys, today we're going to be going through what an effective training plan looks like. In the last video, we talked about creating a program that makes a difference. Now we're going to be talking about how to make a training session that makes a difference, because there's so much out there that's not research based and is really wasting your time and your players' time. So I'm here to give you the answers. Are they all the answers? No. Are they the best answers? Maybe, but I can definitely guarantee they're better than what most people do. So this is the document I've added to the description for your use. You can download it. You can use it as a template for your own program. You don't need to pay me. If you're going to send a super thanks to send me some money, I'm not going to stop you. But I don't want to slow down the growth of volleyball because it's already so slow at the moment. And we need to get this stuff out there. And if it doesn't get out there, no one's going to get better. We're going to stay the same. We're going to stay complacent. So everybody, if you want this document, go check out the description. It's free. It's just on Google Docs. Download it. Check it out. Let's get into it. So this is what I've got. Creating an effective training plan. The main idea that you should be following is this here. You get better at what you practice. I have turned it into a bit of a catchphrase, but this is literally the science. It's literally the science, okay? We could talk about skill acquisition. We could talk about modal learning, but it really boils down to this. You get better at what you practice. The more specific activities you're doing, the more specific things you're going to become better at. If you're digging against the wall, if you're setting against the wall, you're not getting better at volleyball. You're not getting better at setting. You're getting better at setting against a wall. We talk about it in efficiency rates. Setting against the wall is probably about 5% efficient. Setting in a game is probably about 100% efficient. Okay, so we want to try and create trainings that are 100% efficient. We have values. These are the values that I want you to try and embed throughout your training sessions. Emulate the game. So make sure every time you're doing something on court at training, it sort of looks like the game. We want to maximize touches. If players are standing around and waiting, they're getting better at waiting because you get better at what you practice. If you practice waiting, you're going to get better at it. And last one is the most important for me. That's why I've made it dark blue, is make it fun. It needs to be fun. Trainings must be fun. I've added to this list encouraged activities and discouraged activities. So encouraged in green, woo! Small group games with constraints. If you're not sure about what constraints are, I'll explain a little bit later on. If you want a whole video on it, I can do that. Small groups, 2v2, 4v4. You can do half court, you can do full court. We want them playing games. We want them playing volleyball. Players play. They don't practice, they play. Now, these are the conditions and constraints. When we add a constraint, there's three things we can control: the skill, the environment, or the outcome. If I wanted to make a constraint for this 2v2 game, if I want them to get better at passing, they need to do more reps in passing. So I could simply say, you can only pass. Or if I wanted to get a little more creative about it, which I've liked doing recently, is saying you're not allowed to set in this game. So they're allowed to spike, they're allowed to block, they're allowed to do everything, but they need to dig, which means in their 3 touches, they're doing digs 2 at a time in 2 different settings. One as a receiver, one as a setter. So we want to get creative with our constraints, but that's just one way of adding a constraint about the skill. Environment, you could do half court, you could do short court. Outcome, you could add bonus points, you could minus points away. Okay, focus more on the positive until you get a good idea of what you're doing. Okay, be creative, be intentional. Be intentional. We'll come back to that. Discouraged activities, spiking lines. Holy moly. Spiking lines in volleyball is the equivalent of doing free throw practice. Okay, we're just one person at the free throw, draining shots. There's 11 people waiting. There's one person practicing. Same thing with spiking lines. Okay, without intentionality. Spiking lines is a waste of time. We got one person practicing the spike, 11 people watching and waiting. Another one, elimination games. Sort of have fun memories of these. It's like Red Rover. It's like all these other tag games. When you get eliminated, ooh, it puts pressure on it, okay? But players that get eliminated first, guess what? They're usually the players that need the most work. They need the most practice, okay? So when we play elimination games, those players that are weaker usually get out first, which means they're not practicing as much as they could be. And then we just have the strong players getting even stronger while the weak players stay weak. We want everyone to grow. We want everyone to improve. Let's try and scratch elimination games if possible. Our mission here for this volleyball program I'm making for Volleyball Australia is fall in love with volleyball. We want players to fall in love with volleyball. Look at this. People don't fall in love waiting around. Even in life, you don't fall in love waiting. You fall in love doing, being a part of it, playing. That's our mission. We come back to why. Why don't we play elimination games? Because we want people to fall in love with volleyball. And last but not least, reflect on your trainings with your teams, okay? Ask them what went well. Ask them what would they like to practice next time. I've explored a lot of the language around this. I've found this works most effectively in getting players to interact with the conversation. So what went well? I think this went well. I think this went well. And then you ask them this: what would they like to practice next time? Not, hey, what do you need to improve on? Or what did you do wrong? What do you want to work on next time? Your focus is always on moving forward. These players now become co-creators, not just participants in your own training sessions. They become co-creators. They take leadership over their learning, which is imperative. I'm going to show you another document of my choose your own adventure training plan. All right, this is what my trainings look like. I've put them into this file. If you want this file, I'm going to put it in the description absolutely free as well, because I want you guys to get better. I don't want to gatekeep. I want you guys to get better. If you want to send me money, here's your choose your adventure training plan. Go Chardy. Coaching values, as always, emulate the game, maximize touches, make it fun. Okay, training session plan. We go through the format. I read through John O'Sullivan's Every Moment Matters. He talks about this training session template. Play, practice, play. Take a look. 30% play at the start. We always start with a game because people want to play. So why not let them play straight away? Afterwards, practice. That's when we do 33% practicing, isolating on a skill in between, and then we finish off with more games. Okay, I don't mind if you make this maybe 15%, 20%, all right? Because we only need to practice that small skill and then embed that skill throughout all the other games. But play, practice, play. There's a whole range of benefits, because if you do play first, people are excited to get there. Also, if you have players that continually run late and it's out of their control, if you do practice first, if you do like a little workshop on a skill and you just finish explaining what you need to do, two people come in and say, hey, what are we doing? You say, oh, this is what we're doing. We need to do this. We need to do this. Go, bang. They got two more people come in. Oh, you got to explain it 100 different times. If you're playing a game of 4v4, full court or something like that, as soon as they come in late, jump on. You're going straight on. Don't need to explain anything. You know the rules, go. And then after that half an hour of play, everybody's here. Everybody's ready to practice. Okay, that's one of the big reasons I love this. Moving forward, this is what a training plan looks like for me. So this is my example plan. I choose a focus. The focus in this one is digging or defense. Activities, play, 1v1, 2v2. Love this gameplay. I split the court in half. Okay, here are my constraints. First one, digging only. Yeah, must dig behind attack line. Okay, so I'm forcing them to dig deep. They can only dig as well. So I'm putting constraints so they get effective reps. Yeah, 2v2. +2 for dig set spike sequence. All right, so I'm adding bonuses for the results they show me. And they want to do it because I'm giving them bonus points. It's a risk, especially at a certain skill level, to do a dig set spike sequence. But it's worth the risk when you add bonus points. Skill workshop, arms like logs, face the ball, angle to target. These are my keys for every single basic skill in volleyball. I've created 5, 6 different keys, which is 3 to 6 words long. They're very simple. Arms like logs, all right? Arms like logs means this: arms as straight as logs, yeah? We simplify it, we try and put imagery around it. I've got a whole list of them down here in the appendix. Passing keys, setting keys, serving keys, spiking keys, blocking keys. I've got it all there. Okay, so if you want to look into that, absolutely do that. Keys, these are the 2 things we're focusing on in our workshop, and we do partner work. We go all the way back to basics. Triangle passing. You're in a triangle with 2 other people, you're practicing. Arms like logs, you're practicing my second key, face the ball, angle to target. Does that make sense? I hope it does. This is the time you can walk around and give very clear, kind, specific, and helpful feedback to your players, especially in this spot. Yeah? This spot as well. We still want to give feedback in the games, but this is, we want to juice up on that feedback. We want to give every single person at least 2 pieces of feedback while we're walking around. Afterwards, games, 4v4, 66, if it's possible, if you have enough. Double down again. There's all these different types of constraints. We can talk about them in another video. So that's what my example plan looks like. This is how you create one for yourself. Choose your own adventure. Isn't that wonderful? I'm so adventurous. Step 1, choose a skill focus. In the first one, we chose digging. Woohoo! Number 2, choose 2 warm-up activities. These are game-based. You know, it's play. So half-court games, 1v1, 2v2, 3v3. Those are suggestions. You can do anything you want. Those are suggestions just to get people moving. Step 3, choose 2 skill keys. So for digging, let's go down to the appendix. Passing, we could do gunslinger stance, and we could do wrist and hands together. Beautiful. Those are the two we've chosen. Next, choose 2 full court activities. Full court activities 4v4, 6v6. There's variations. I've added them at the very bottom of the appendix. I've got you covered. 6v6, there's variations to 6v6 games as well. I've got them down in the appendix. These are the names over here. I've got rules down there as well. These aren't the only 6v6, but they are cool ones that add constraints and extra rules. Number 5, add constraints to each activity. Okay, control the skill, control the environment, control the outcome. So in your activities of 1v1 or 2v2 and 4v4 and 6v6, add your constraints. If you want them digging more, make sure they dig in 1v1. Make sure they're only allowed to dig, or they're not allowed to set, so it limits them down to only digging. Step 6 is write it down. So just like I've written it down over here, all right, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard, on anything. When we think of learning, we need to start thinking a little more broadly. It's multi-modal learning. We're not visual learners. We're not kinesthetic learners. We're multi-modal learners. Why do you think you learn more when you write something down? It's because you've heard it and you're also kinesthetically writing it down. Why do you think you learn more when you're looking at a picture or a video? It's not because you're a visual learner. It's because you're a multi-modal learner. We want these people to be able to absorb information in multiple different ways. And also, another thing is it adds a benefit for people that may have disorders or disabilities. I've got ADHD. Holy moly. When someone just tells me, hey, we're doing 1v1, digging only, must dig behind the attack line, guess what I hear? Absolutely nothing. I'm in my own world. I snap out of it and I'm like, oh crap, what do I need to do? If it's on a whiteboard, I can just look. Whew. No shame, no nothing, baby. All right. So it accounts for accessibility. It also helps with multimodal learning. And if someone's running late and they walk in, hey, what am I doing? Hey, check the board. Go. Okay, it's really, really simple. Whiteboard is a must. If you've got the resource, use it. Don't waste it. And that's it. That's how simple it is to make a training plan that's an effective training plan. We use constraint-based learning. We use research to back up these ideas. We play a lot of volleyball. In the appendix, let's take a look. We've got the fundamental skill keys that I've maybe stolen from people, maybe made them up myself, but I've got the ideas down there. I've also tried to add in what I mean by that. So I call this eyeball direction. Okay, draw eyes on thumb knuckles wherever they look, the ball will follow. What I mean by that is this here. Look, bang, bang. Now when you dig, see those little eyeballs? Can you see them? Wherever they look, that's where the ball's gonna go. Okay, so there's small things that need a reference, but I've tried my best to create a reference on here so it makes sense for you. Moving forward, skill keys. Okay, small group variations, Monarch, it did a little diagram. I've written a description. Speedball, they're all just different ways to play these games. And then we've got Double Down, which is a favorite of mine. 66 variations, it's got the rules of each of the games I've added. All right, so I've put a lot of work into this because I want you guys to improve. I want your training sessions to become the best ones possible. These are the training sessions I'm going to be running for Volleyball Australia. The ones that I'm doing for Emerging Talent Head Coach. And so far, I've been working there for a week. It's been a huge improvement. It's so good to see kids having fun playing volleyball and getting better at the sport. Okay, so please, if you need this as well, I've put it in the description for you. It's for free. It may seem a bit forced for me to keep saying this, but I want you guys to use these resources. I want you guys as coaches and as players to have the best opportunities to grow. I hope that you're able to grow from these. I hope that these add a lot to your session plans. This was a breakdown of my training plans. There's a lot that goes into it, and sometimes it may not make sense. If you don't know what's going on, ask a question. If I don't get around to it, please, community, help us out. This is research. Guys, this is not just me saying this is the best way to do it. This is the research. This is what makes you better. Use it at your own discretion. God bless. You get better with your practice. So go practice making your own adventure training plans. Coach Artie, baby, let's go!